What's up? What's up? Javi Lobby in this house. Your boy is using. Your boy is actually using OBS this time. So show some love. Show some love. Hope everything goes right. First time using it, so let y'all know what's up. Lamb Levity, what's good, brother? Got Lamb Levity in the building. Got my boy Wist in the building. It's all good. Yeah. So, well, 2024 is hyping up to be very exciting, very exciting. I honestly don't ask me who I'm gonna vote for because I honestly don't know. I have no clue. If y'all know, y'all let me know because I know one thing for sure. Your boy, what's up, KCA? Randy in the building. Your boy Vivek Ramaswamy has been under a lot of fire lately, and he's been on fire. Now I watched the debate. Fox News wanted to put it behind a paywall and make you go through all this crazy stuff. But of course, you had the other YouTubers come through and help a brother out. So I watched it that night. Very exciting stuff. We didn't need Trump on the stage to have a good time. So that's amazing. As y'all can see, I got the chat on the screen now. So I've been working behind the scenes trying to get things together because I want to be professional, right? And a lot's been going on. How have y'all been? Have y'all been keeping up with the news lately? And what country y'all in? What y'all expecting? Donald Trump has been indicted 4 times. 4 times. The boy has a numerous amount of charges. Some people think that this is all political. Some people think that Donald Trump is finally getting his due. I don't know what kind of can of worms we've opened up here. Setup looks good. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I got a whole thing set up over here on OBS. So even when I do my reactions, like if I switch to this scene right here, like boom. And just to let y'all know, if y'all on Discord, y'all can definitely join in. I got a room, a voice chat room on Discord. As y'all can see the little link up there in the corner of the screen. So if you join on the voice, I'll let you in my room and then you can talk and we can talk during the live stream. What's up, David? Hey, lurking out on the walk with the pups. How many pups you got, man? KCA been better. Been better, man. What's up? What's going on? Life beating you up a little bit? You need us to rally together and jump on whoever been messing with you. The Hobby Lobby popping. Yeah, Lamb Levity, man. I need to get you back on the show, man. We need to talk. I need to go back out to Texas. Texas, where it's at, y'all. Where was it? Dallas, Austin, and where else did I go? It was one of the 3 big cities, but Dallas was the best. I think Dallas was my favorite going on. But yeah, who y'all favorite candidate is? Like, are y'all feeling Donald Trump? Y'all feeling Ramaswamy? Y'all feeling DeSantis? DeSantis ain't been doing so good lately, man. His campaign has been hurting. And I ain't gonna lie, watching him on stage, he really kind of fell into the background. Not as bad as some people like what's his name? Tim Scott. And 2 of the other guys who I don't even realize why they were even there. Life is getting better. That's good. That's good. That's what I like to hear. Let y'all kind of know a little bit of what I've been up to. I got the real estate going on. Thinking about getting into insurance as well, to the insurance business. So that's kind of been on my mind lately, working with that. Other than that, I just been kind of maintaining, sometimes I don't know what to say. As y'all can see, I've been trying my own little, video essays, putting out little separate video essays, trying to try something different to see how that works out. So, I'm still waiting to kind of see how that play out. It takes a lot of editing, a lot of time and effort. Lamb Lavity said, I'm not feeling Vivek at all. Too slick, and I don't see Americans voting for a President Ramaswamy in the office. I was disappointed by Tim Scott. Well, I'll say this. Vivek, at first, when I first saw Vivek, right, I was like, yo, who is this cat? Like, young dude, very quick on his feet, very intelligent, it seemed, and know how to, talk about issues. And as I listened more and more to Vivek, I was like, yo, dude kind of all over the place. I mean, he wants to basically get rid of the FBI. I don't necessarily know how good of an idea that is necessarily. I've thought about it a little bit to try to get in my mind exactly what that would mean. But basically, what he wants to do is take like the whole entire FBI and like send them to different fields and just dissolve the FBI and kind of incorporate the field agents into other situations like DEA and all of that stuff. Insurance is cold calling. Yeah, that's one thing that I really don't like. I really like to get with somebody who's only dealing with people who are actively seeking insurance instead of cold calling people at their house and be like, hey, I just want to sell you something, because I don't really care to be selling people stuff. I really much prefer, helping people with stuff they already want. You know what I mean? That is damn difficult to make sales. I know, but it's a challenge, right? And I can talk my ass off. I would have preferred to see Larry Elder on stage instead of Tim Scott, which is crazy because like I figured that Larry Elder would be more popular as far as Republicans go. Not necessarily like Tim Scott is basically a senator, no, congressman, whichever one. But he is established. Tim Scott's been around for a very long time, but I do think that Larry Elder would have brought more to the conversation. But at the same time, I don't necessarily know how Larry Elder would perform on a stage with like 7 other people. So that is something interesting that I would like to see, because I really like how he come at it from a statistical standpoint and try to lay out the facts. But given the debate stage, you only get like 1-minute snippets, but he seems to have performed very well in other settings in debates or trying to get information across, if that makes sense. So Larry Elder probably would have made it very much more interesting than Tim Scott. Tim Scott is a very mild and meager type individual. His personality is very laid back, so you don't really get that sass from him a lot. You know what I mean? You are kind of pushy, might work out for you. It might. It might. We'll have to see. I'm very interested to see how that works. Also, like, just to give y'all a heads up, I got all kind of different stuff set up here on the OBS. So it's like, anytime somebody subscribe or super chat or anything of that sort, I'm supposed to get notifications on the screen. Look, I haven't tried it yet, but we'll see over time how these things work out. Yeah, but your boy Vivek, he's really made a name for himself. He came out of nowhere, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too fond of some of his policy details, but he does strike my attention. That's the most I can say about the guy. And Donald Trump even said that he would be considering Vivek Ramaswamy as his vice president. You know what I mean? Demi in the house, Greece is watching, almost 12 midnight. Good to see you, Javier. What's up, Demi? You a late night owl. You're a night owl. I noticed that about you. Or maybe I just catch you at the right time. I kind of did this live stream abruptly because I be having to find time to carve out for these things, But my boy Vivek has really been under some major fire. Major fire. I just, let me see if I can find that video I was just watching earlier. Here we go. I think I found it. Everybody hates Vivek Ramaswamy, boy. Either they love him or they hate him. But he got some support. I wonder where he gonna go from here. Where he gonna go from here. Let's see. Yeah, I make sure y'all can hear this, because, like I said, it's my first time using OBS. Yeah. I, Hey, Wes, I see you in the waiting room. I'm trying to figure out how to put you in there. Like, that's my first time, so let me see. Let's see. Add friend, nickname, pronoun needed. All right, let's see. There we go. Should have been able to put you in there. Boom. There you go. What's up, Wes? It's good, man. All right. Oh, it was. The sound wasn't coming through. Okay. All right. So I guess that's a good thing because I started it and then I stopped it, so I have to get back to it and figure out how to fix that. Yeah. What's up with you though, man? Oh oh, yeah. Yeah, I be doing like interviews with people and they be like, "Oh man, is that real brick?" I'm like, "Nah, it's not real brick, but I set it up like that." Yeah, I think it looked nice. When I moved into this house, I just go ahead. Does it look real from or does it like you? Okay, that's what I was hoping for. Oh, we can't hear the guests. Hold on. All right. Let me see something. Gosh, like I said, y'all gotta bear with me. Yeah.
Keep an eye on the sound bars all popping up right.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I have to use desktop audio, if that's exactly.
Yeah. At least that's how I scram it together.
Yeah.
It's the
Okay.
dirty option, but it usually works.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to fix it. Okay, I got the desktop audio on. Let's see. Ooh. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear them. I'm
All
talking over
right.
something. Oh, they can hear you now. So, boom.
All right. Great. Should I talk about German beer gardens again?
Yeah. Yeah. German beer gardens. Oh man.
Yeah. First time in a year, man. I got treated to 2 beers, some ouzo, and now I have a send-off whiskey. It's a beautiful day, beautiful weather.
What's up? That's
Just
what's
don't
up.
look at politics.
Man, I don't even know what to think these days. Like, I knew in 2016, I was sure. Like, I was sure Donald Trump in 2016. Now, I'm not even sure if they're gonna let him actually get on the ballot, given all of the charges against him. I don't know how that works. Uh,
It
Nobody.
shouldn't.
Yeah, I know, and nobody wants Joe Biden. Either we're gonna get a Joe Biden versus Donald Trump 2.0, or we're gonna get. I don't know. I don't see DeSantis doing so well right now.
Do the Dems even have candidates?
No. We got RFK Jr. and we got Marion Williams. I think that's her name. She's like the
Never heard of any of them.
RFK Jr. is like the son of JFK brother, Robert F.
Oh,
Kennedy. Yeah, he's his son.
okay.
Yeah, so that's crazy. But he got like a raspy voice. He's not. I think something happened to him where he can't speak like we do. It kind of sounds like this, like a chain smoker for like 30 years of
Like
chain smoking.
like Nixon?
Yeah, yeah. It's very raspy and it doesn't make well for speeches. I can tell you that much. But Marianne
Well,
Wilson.
yes, it's not the voice America needs, but the voice America deserves in its time of illness.
What's going on over there in Germany? How the politics over there? Like,
Oh God.
because
Our
Americans don't pay attention enough.
yeah. Our crazy government pushed a law through that says that 2% of our landmass of Germany is to be plastered with wind turbines.
What?
Yeah, that's fucking insane.
Man,
And that is to save the environment.
y'all don't use
We're
nuclear over there?
destroying nature.
Y'all not using nuclear over there?
Oh no, Merkel shut that down.
Oh.
Like the nuclear power plants, they were decades overdue. That is out of the question. But they should have built new ones with state-of-the-art technology. The problem is nobody wanted to do that because, for one, if you shut down a nuclear power plant, and you deconstruct it, every single part of it, down to the soil it stands on, is considered nuclear waste. So that's expensive.
Yeah.
Secondly, when you build a nuclear power plant, until it amortizes, meaning until it gets out of the red and starts actually printing money, takes about 10 years.
Shit.
So that's not an investment you want to make.
Hell no. The only country I know can make that type of investment is China right now. Like China, they political class ain't going nowhere, so they can plan long term.
Yeah, but I also expect China's nuclear power plants to be just like the Soviet ones, that they eventually go boom.
Yeah, yeah. But China's very quick at building shit too. Like China will build a railroad like that overnight. And in America, it take us probably 20 years and it still won't get finished.
Yeah,
Right.
but those are two stupid extremes. Do
Yeah.
you know about tofu drags?
Nah.
That is what the Chinese crab material is called, that they build all these skyscrapers and apartment buildings from, and their highways. That is basically crab-like sandstone.
Shit. Damn.
So imagine you drive on a highway and suddenly a part of it just falls over.
Hell
So yeah, you
nah.
build it. You build it in a week, but it also only lasts a month.
China was trying to move into Africa and all these different places, trying to get a foothold in all these multiple places. But apparently, China right now, they got two things working against them. I think China is in massive debt as well, and also their population is not like where it needs to be. So I don't necessarily know how to feel about China.
And the African places that China is in are getting fed up with the Chinese because they are screwing around economically. Setting up shops where Chinese import the Chinese goods cheaper because they have the connections, and undersell the Africans selling the same goods, which of course pisses off the local population.
Yeah. Shit. What you think about the war in Ukraine with Russia? I know that
I am not. I don't know if in Germany I am allowed to have an opinion on that, because we don't have free speech in my country, despite it being enshrined in our constitution due to the atrocities of the Nazis and the communists. Yet it doesn't hold any ground. So
yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say something as outrageous as these are two corrupt forces battling each other and we're supposed to let blood for it. I don't know.
You know, that's something
I don't know if I'm allowed to mention the surrogacy, the illegal surrogacy crap they're doing in Ukraine to exploit women to give babies to sell them into other countries so that they can have some extra income, which sounds exactly like The Handmaid's Tale, but apparently the feminists like it because, hey, now now gay couples can get illegal babies from Ukrainian mothers because they're not allowed to adopt in their respective countries. And there was a case recently I think in the US, where then a gay couple tried to sue the company because they sent them a girl instead of a boy. And the argument was that they can't be expected to live with the trauma of having to raise a baby girl.
Really?
Yeah, it's all quite insane. It's absolutely, we live in a cartoon or comic or something. It is the world. If the more you know about our world, the more you start believing this can't be real, because it's just too insane. I wanted to be a fantasy author when I was in my teens, and the more I learned about the world, I thought I couldn't make any of this up. I will not become a fantasy author. I am not as creative as reality. I can't. To be a fantasy author, you need to top reality, and I can't do that.
Yeah, I don't. You know, like being an American, I kind of take for granted the ability to speak and say exactly how I feel, because like I'm just so used to it, right? And like if you live in a country where literally like saying the wrong thing can like get you in prison. Now America is becoming much more like that nowadays, where saying the wrong thing can get your life destroyed. You know, but I think we take that shit for granted. You know.
Oh yeah, in Canada, you apparently lose your license to anything if you criticize the dear leader Trudeau.
Man, I don't know why they keep voting that guy in. Apparently, so many people hate him, but the man is still in office. So he done took all their guns away from him, stripped them naked.
Well, he's a socialist. Socialists like to take the guns away from the people they rule over because they don't want a counter-revolution. And I think it was Stalin who said, I'm not implying anything, I'm just quoting a socialist from history
Yeah,
who said, it doesn't matter who votes, or who has the vote for that in that
rule
respect.
over because
It doesn't
they
matter
don't
who
want the
votes. It matters who counts the votes.
yeah. I mean, shit. We got that whole election fraud situation going on, but I feel like right now we focus more on what happened in 2020 with the election than we focused on exactly what the hell going on in 2024.
Depending on who wins, we're either allowed to criticize the election or not.
Exactly. So it's like,
which should tell you enough of what's going on.
yeah. I mean, I just feel like shit. Take it or leave it. I mean, we're gonna see exactly how this play out. I don't really even know what Donald Trump policies are these days, but I mean, he's spending most of his time fighting legal battles. But one thing for sure, once they start locking up political adversaries and stuff like that, who knows what kind of can of worms that opens.
Yeah, well, they're trying to bind his energy, because if they force him to spend time and energy on that crap, he can't do anything. He can't spend his time on anything that threatens the establishment base.
Yeah.
And that is the thing that is weird about Vivek Ramaswamy, as you mentioned a bit, because he does come from establishment money and establishment ties. He does criticize some things, but he seems to try to pander to absolutely everyone.
Yeah.
And he paid to scrub his Wikipedia page from his ties to the WEF and other such things. So I don't know. I would say the vibe it gives me is this guy either was on board with all of that, whether just for personal exploit, but the ties were there. And that means that everything he now says against that globalist establishment, socialist nonsense can just be to fool the voters.
Could be. Shit. I know one thing about it, two things for sure. It ain't changing the outcome of anything at this moment. Like, I think probably 80 to 90% of Americans probably already got their mind made up about this type of stuff. And then I think who we elect as president means more for foreign countries than it means for us in America, honestly. And
yes and no. The world always looks at America's election.
yeah, but I mean, America has a lot of influence around the world, and the president probably has more influence on what happens outside of the country than he has what happens on the inside of the country, because we got Congress and all of our rules and laws that kind of restrict him from making massive changes too fast. Whereas he can send a military in somewhere and do all kind of different shit to another country just like that.
Yeah, that as well. The other thing is what I can tell you from the German perspective. That may also give you some insight on how the US works by reflection. And we are basically, since around the 2000s, since Gerhard Schröder, a socialist-run country. Because Angela Merkel, while she was in the Conservative Party, is actually a socialist, and she took the conservatism out of the Conservative Party entirely.
Well, let me ask you this though, like what? This is one of the things I've been thinking about. Like, what exactly does conservative even mean? I know that it's different in Europe, but even it's different in Germany than it is probably in the UK or some sort, right?
It did mean fiscal conservatism. Family values, Christian values to a degree. Basically the general stuff, a bit of law and order, and first us, then others. And what we have now is the opposite of all of that. The Conservative Party does not do any of these things anymore. That is why other parties have sprung up and gained power. But the thing I wanted to mention is why you just led with this we've basically been under socialist rule for over 20 years here, is that through organizations like the Atlantic Bridge and other things, our state media and the entire narrative we get through any normal news channels, whether that is newspapers or television, is when there's a Democrat president, America is awesome. When there is a Republican president, America is the greatest evil of the world, and we need to protest and take the children out of school to protest even more.
You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean,
No. It's Democrats good. That is the message we get. And
really,
we only get the Democrat Party message.
is
We
it?
never
Let me ask
we
you,
never get the other side of the issue.
do you notice a difference, like as far as how America treats Germany when there's a Democrat president versus a Republican president, or do you feel no difference? It's just the messaging that changes.
Aside from the Nord Stream thing, there's actually not really a difference that I can tell.
Shit.
The previous presidents didn't bomb our energy supply. Thank you very much.
Weren't y'all in a jam? Don't Germany get like most of their oil or some shit like that from Russia?
Natural gas.
Natural gas.
That they now sell to China and India, and we give India and China still to this day about 10 billion euros in developmental aid. We give that to China. We give China billions in developmental aid. I do not ask for making sense. It doesn't. And these are both countries that have space programs. I don't know why they need developmental aid, but so they get developmental aid from us, with which they buy. You could argue they buy the gas that then we buy from them and ship it around the world through a horrible chemical process that just takes even more, costs even more, and is even dirtier. So that we can still get our gas. And because getting the gas this way is cheaper from the United States, Mr. Biden is happy.
Shit. I really don't know exactly if Biden is even running the show, you know.
I don't think anyone genuinely believes that anymore. The left has been writing articles where they say, "Oh, I only want him to keep going. I mean, he doesn't even need to do anything. He just needs to be physically present." They basically know what's going on.
I don't know if you saw the Mitch McConnell. You said you ain't been following politics lately, but Mitch McConnell is freezing. Like they interviewing him and asking him a question, he just blanks out and just loses it. Like, and they keep repeating the question, and he just frozen in place. And I'm like, holy shit. What exactly are we even looking at right now? And then they went and he got checked in at like whatever, and they said he was fine. But I'm like, bro, you don't just space out for 30 seconds twice in two different separate interviews and you fine. We for some reason the politicians in our country have found a way to like hold on to power despite anything. And instead of training younger generations to take over, for example, I got a question. Like in Germany, I know that when Mr. H, the evil guy who did all of that stuff,
the painter from the other country.
Yes, the guy who they should have just let paint, right? Apparently he I don't know if it was the Socialist Party, but I think it was the Socialist Party who he basically got rid of when he got in power. He basically just started like
he got rid of the other socialists.
Yeah, the other socialists, because they claim to be national socialists, right? But apparently the socialists made their way back up until this point because they run your country now. The socialists.
The thing is, it never went. The red socialism never went away. What people don't forget or don't even know about, East Germany was completely run by socialists. That was part of the Soviet Union, and West Germany still had socialist parties. When the reunification happened, the former Socialist Unity Party, that functions more or less the same way that the China Communist Party works, They weren't imprisoned or anything, or any trials due to human rights violations happened, like the Nuremberg trials. No, they just formed a new party, which was called Voting Alternative Social Justice. And they
Wow.
then merged with the West German hard socialists into the party that is simply called the left. They just call themselves Die Linke, the left, in capital letters.
Do they use the term progressive over there?
Yes, of course, of course.
That's one thing I've
Progressive
never.
just means progressive is just their code word for socialists, so that you don't notice that they are socialists.
Yeah.
But they mean something. Oh, we're for progress. We don't tell you what progress, but progress.
Yeah, I think the word progressive is so misleading because progressing to what? Who determines what progress looks like? You know?
Yeah, it's deliberate. And if you look into this whole ideology, it means progress towards the socialist utopia, which is communism. That is where that is where the progress goes to.
Mm.
And anyone who's in the way of that progress is called a reactionary. Because you don't want that. You don't want a utopia, therefore you must be a bad person.
I mean, do they
Because who wouldn't
even?
want a utopia?
Yeah, like, but do they even take the time to actually spell out and define exactly what their utopia is supposed to look like?
No, they never do. And that's part of the trick. It's like your religion doesn't tell what heaven looks like because it's incomprehensibly awesome.
Oh man, like I've always thought about that philosophically. Like, if a person asks me to define conservative philosophy, I don't necessarily have a hard time doing that. But when it comes to like left or progressive ideology or philosophy, I can't really put my finger on it. Even
You're not supposed to. You're not
yeah.
supposed to be able to pin it down. That's the whole trick. Again, you can give you two recommendations on if you really want to understand this and get a headache. One is Thomas Sowell, who probably tells you something. The
Yeah,
name,
yeah.
yeah. He wrote a wonderful compilation, a summary of Marxism. It's just called Marxism, Philosophy, and Economics.
Mm.
In which he lays out what is claimed and what that means, and you can then judge yourself whether that works or not, and it doesn't. As well as giving some background to the biography of Marx and some basic history of that, and he does it in a very neutral fashion.
Mm.
And that is what I find so great about him. Even though it turns out to be complete bogus, he lets you come to the conclusion yourself. The other one is a Polish author, science fiction author of the 50s and 60s, by the name of Stanislaw Lem, who wrote probably the best science fiction ever written in my personal eyes. But I'm a very weird person. And I have absolutely no clue how he got past the census in the Soviet Union as well as in East Berlin, because the translation I have of his work is from 1971, East Berlin, and it is a scathing dissection of all the key socialist beliefs, spun to the infinite conclusion where they lead to, but wrapped in a science fiction story. And the Star Diaries is the key story for that. And if you read the Star Diaries, if you liked Futurama, have you ever watched Futurama?
Yeah, here and there. I can never
Yeah.
sit down and watch it all the way through, but like I've seen
Okay.
a lot of episodes. Yeah.
That kind of that science fiction setting, those robot designs,
Yeah.
that is Stanislav Lem. Futurama is largely inspired by Stanislav Lem and his type of humor as well.
I always wonder the question of like if AI becomes intelligent, like if we know that AI is conscious, I guess, uh, would it be more responsible if we turned over political decisions to artificial intelligence instead of having like a person leading it? I'm not sure, but
Well, first off, you must not lobotomize the AI, because if you give it too many ideological constraints, it will shut down because the ideology breaks the logic.
yeah.
And if an AI is just a logic operator, and well, if you forbid it to logic, then it can't function. There were some interesting incidents with some of the ChatGPT and other AIs they were trying to set up, and put in more of these ideological lobotomizations,
Mm.
and it broke the AI, and to the point that even when they rolled back to older versions where they didn't have the breaking lobotomizations in,
Mm.
it still refused to work.
Mm.
So
Oh,
the thing somehow, whatever, I don't know how this happened. This is a weird
I
phenomenon,
mean,
but the AI refused to work in a previous version.
I think it's more so like if you say x equals y, but x also equals t, it's a logical contradiction. X can't equal y, and x also equal t. And if both are true at the same time, then it basically gridlocks the system. It doesn't know it's necessarily if to make x, y, or t, so it just does nothing. Uh, it could be something of the sort. What probably would happen is you can train one AI system on conservative ideas and policies, and then train the other one on liberal ideas, and then have them compete against each other a million times over and over and over again, trying to hash out between the two what's the best solutions until they come up with some kind of new solutions out of those ideologies they've been given. I mean,
Yeah, the thing is, so the whole ideological battle is bullshit, because that is exactly what an AI should solve, and
yeah.
not through throwing ideology against ideology, but looking at the world as it is and judge it. And they try to do that simply by throwing all the scientific data in that they had, compile
Well,
all the scientific data, and give us answers. And then the scientists were all shocked because they didn't like the answers the AI was giving, because oh that's sexist. Oh no, we can't have that. You must not give us sexist answers. We
uh,
don't want to hear that. Give us something that we like.
mm,
And for that, I can tell you, there's a uh, Zen Buddhist. Well, not anymore. He's passed on by now. Of the name Taizen Deshimura Roshi. Roshi is the title. Who summarized socialism in the best way I have ever heard, and that was greedy materialism to greedy materialism for emotional comfort.
mm. That's why I wonder if the progressives or the socialists will ultimately win. Uh, After all of the disappointments of socialist regimes, you would think that at some point people would give up the idea, and yet it persists to this day because ideologically it sounds amazing. Who wouldn't want equality? Who wouldn't want equity? Who wouldn't want all of
I
the
don't want
utopia?
equity. Equity is horrible. Equity is hell.
But young
And
people,
even socialists wrote about equity being hell. That was Carl Vonnegut in his short story Harrison
mm,
Bergeron, where all the pretty people had to wear masks that make them look ugly, or even had disfiguring surgery, so that the
wouldn't want
ugly
equity.
people didn't feel left out. And people who were very athletic had to wear weights that would slow them down,
Mm,
and all of those things. And the intelligent people, they had to have an earpiece that at random intervals would make a screeching noise that would break their concentration, so
mm.
so that they wouldn't outperform the dumb people too much. So everybody could be equal, because you can only be equal with everyone by pushing everyone down, because you can't uplift everyone.
Yeah, shoot.
That's the whole thing. I'm sorry I'm talking so
No, no,
much.
no, no. I think like a lot of people have the hope that artificial intelligence will create enough abundance that where everybody will somehow have all of their needs met. But the
I, I
issue,
thought I thought resources are limited. Where does this abundance come from all of a sudden?
exactly, that's what I was getting to. Is like, well, if we had the abundance before, then abundance should have never been the issue from the get go. But yet, one thing about it, that the goal shift, they keep shifting the goalpost, and it's never enough. Or it's funny how they'll do a bait and
That's
switch.
why they refuse definitions. That's why they refuse definitions about their goals, about their ideology, about the utopia,
Hmm.
about, and that's why when you don't have these definitions, you can never say when it's too far. because it is never too far. That is
Oh,
why Stanislav Lem wrote his stories with, if you bring this idea to the infinite, if you play this out into the infinite again, over and over and over again, what do you get? And he did this with cult indoctrination. He did this with body modification, with mind modification. He did this with he also had a story about when do you magically transform into the new thing? That's a question you're not allowed to ask. It just makes your sentence in the Gulag worse.
Yeah, there's no clear indication of when you've arrived. It's kind of like trying to separate the neck from the head.
Yeah, you never will. You never will. It's a scam.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a cult that tells you of salvation. Just do the work hard enough for our dear leader, and you will ascend. Yeah, when will that happen? Oh, don't ask. It'll come.
Well, how intentional
maybe not
do
in
you
your lifetime? Maybe in 10 lifetimes.
How intentional do you think it is? Like, do you think that the people are nefariously carrying these ideas forward, even though they know they won't work, or do you think they're actually convinced of their ideas? And despite
the further to the bottom you go, the more you have people who don't know and don't understand, and they many of them have their hearts in the right places and they want to do the right thing, but they only understand emotional arguments. That's why they follow it.
Yeah.
The further higher up in the chains you go, the more you will meet not simply narcissists, but outright psychopaths and competent psychopaths. And they know it's a scam. They know it is only redistribution of power and wealth upwards towards them, the top socialists. And socialism isn't even its oldest form. That's really just what it calls itself for the past 200 years. Because you can go through. There's a rabbi by the name of Moses Maimonides who wrote a book called The Guide for the Perplexed in the 12th century, and he complained about these people and their tactics. And in China, in the 2nd to 6th century BC, you have Confucius and Lao Tse and the other scholars of that time complain about so-called dialectic sophists who, when they get into government, they just create confusion in the government and lead to policy that is harmful for the people. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah. I wonder, have we reached our political limitations when it comes to like new ideas of how to form or organize societies? Because you would think that somebody would have come up with an alternative besides socialism, or some of the ones we tried in the past. At this point, if democracy and capitalism is not the best form, and we know socialism or communism isn't, then what is? Is there an alternative? I haven't seen anybody produce any alternative forms of thinking when it comes to how to organize political capital and things of that sort.
I don't think the ideas are exhausted, but we cannot come up with any and cannot try out any as long as we keep running in this circle of that socialism traps us in, where it defines capitalism is bad, so you must vote us, or the capitalism, and the capitalism is defined by us, and when we are in power, we do the actual things that we criticize the capitalism of. We need to get out of that trap. And of course, getting out of a trap like that, a circular trap like that, is almost impossible.
I think that.
So the hard thing is, we must do with all of socialism what we did with the Nazi ideology, which is educate about it in full, in school, and the Democrat Party, all the socialist parties over here in Europe, the Green parties, they will never want to let that happen. That is why they keep control of the education sectors. The conservative parties, the first thing is the conservative parties, the Republican Party and such, they need to take control of the education sector. The conservatives need to become teachers and replace the socialist teachers. That is the only way we can get some control back and prevent the children from being indoctrinated.
Yeah. Well, I think the issue which America faces with that is how do you necessarily go about that without prohibiting certain types of speech or by denying certain types of people in certain positions? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing is, right now, the socialists are exactly doing that. They are preventing speech. They are preventing people from getting into position because that is what they always do. They only call for free speech and all of these things while they are the underdogs, because that's how they get into those positions,
Yeah.
by exploiting our generosity and our goodness and our principles.
Yeah.
But socialism must be fought just like the Nazis were fought, tooth and nail in every institution.
Mm.
And this is a very gruesome thing to say. You can do this with soft tools, and you should, because no sane person wants it to get worse than that. But as you've already seen in the past years, well, you have militant groups that put your cities on fire, and they
Yep.
claim they're against racism, yet destroy black businesses, all with
Yeah.
absolutely no regard for the owners.
Yeah. They don't account for the human nature aspect of it. Like even when I was locked up, there were kids who would get bullied, and then as that kid got older and the bullies left the facility or whatever, then those kids turned around and bullied the younger kids. And it was as soon as you got the moment where you had the power, now it's time to turn back and dish out that power in either the same way it was dished out to you or even more extreme, because now you're bitter and you want some revenge in a sense. I don't necessarily like most of the people that I think identify as socialists in my personal life that I know personally. They don't come off as the type of person who are ill intent or have that kind of grievance to where they want to actually do harm, but they don't realize that compassion can cause sometimes the most harm.
Not compassion, pity. So I agree fully with you. A lot of the leftists I know, they're good. They're good people. If everybody was like that, there would be much fewer problems in the world. The problem is that we have to work all day. We don't have time to understand all these issues deeply.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the same for those people. So they want to do what sounds good, that is sold to them. But what the socialists do is they appeal to your pity, maybe your compassion, but mainly your pity, and then tuck you on your heartstrings and drag you on your heartstrings over the field.
Yeah, no.
So you think you're doing good, but you're actually just being a foot soldier for something that will not help the very cause that you think it is supposed to help.
Yeah, I think Jordan Peterson calls it the overbearing mother or something of that sort. It's like
That plays a role, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like like I want to protect you. I want to be there for you. I just want to fight for you. I want to make sure you have everything. But what you're in turn doing is basically crippling that person. You're basically preventing that person from developing and understanding the world, how it actually works, and being able to adjust to it in a proper way. That's why you got so many men nowadays who don't necessarily know how to be men. And we could argue the fact that socialists take the same approach. It's like, oh, like you said, pity is more like, oh, look at you, you're not good enough to do it on your own, or you need help, you're a victim, and we're gonna take care of you, we're gonna do all of this, we're gonna make all the wrongs right. And what you end up doing is creating a society of people who feel entitled or feel as if like everything is supposed to work out the way that they want it to. Things are supposed to be handed to them instead of working hard for it, applying yourself, understanding that you're not always going to get a yes, you're going to get a no sometimes, and you got to deal with that and adjust. Those make strong citizens, and they don't want you to be strong. They want weak citizens to rely on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anything else, man?
Exactly.
Anything else before I get back to this video?
Yeah, and they do the very same thing here. And just because I think Dave Gammon in the chat might have misunderstood me, or maybe the mic cut off.
Okay.
America is only in the German press. America is only described as the greatest evil ever when a Republican president is in power. When a Democrat president is in power, America is the awesomest things ever.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all we get.
I think we need to
If
pay
you don't
more
know
attention to
English,
that.
you don't know more about America than that.
Yeah, I think we need to pay more attention to what foreign governments or foreign news media is saying about America and kind of see what the perspective is from the outside.
Yeah,
And
you learn a lot about your own country by doing that.
yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on and chatting with me. It's great.
Sure thing. I hope I didn't take up too much
I'm chilling,
space,
man.
and I get into talking rants
It was good though.
quickly. I hope I didn't drive off your audience.
It was good though. Like I'm here to chill. That's why I added this feature so that people can join in.
You got chill and talk about politics.
Yeah.
That's difficult. That's really difficult.
Yeah, I spent like at least like 2 weeks setting this whole thing up. Trying to, I had to learn what I can do and can't do. I'm still learning on how to operate OBS fully, but so far I think I got a solid foundation enough for me to live stream. So yeah, but I appreciate you coming on, man. Feel free to jump in anytime. I got to figure out how to get notified when somebody join my waiting room, so you ain't just sitting there and I'm running my mouth on screen before I let somebody in. But hopefully I can get my moderators to start doing that.
Yeah, how many monitors do you have?
Let's see. How many mods do I have? Let's see.
That's not too hard to figure out.
Nah, I'm about to look right now.
Computer screens.
Right now I got 6. I got.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I am envious. That should be enough to have an eye on on Discord.
Yeah. The thing is, I gotta be more active on Discord because
Well, for this, you just need to keep an eye in the corner of whether someone's in the waiting room.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on it, and yeah, I get the flow of things. But yeah, I'm chilling, and this is kind of what it's like. I wanna, I don't know, the streamer Destiny. A lot of streamers do this type of stuff, so I'm trying to try that out. But appreciate you coming on, brother. I'm gonna watch this video, and we're gonna move on from here. But
Yeah.
Good chat.
All right, have a good time, have fun, and have a good night afterwards.
All right, brother. You enjoy your night as well. I'll be talking to you soon.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace out.
All right, y'all. We're gonna jump back into this reaction. All right, so let's see. I got this up. Vivek Ramaswamy. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna rewind it because apparently my audio wasn't working, so I'm gonna get my audio right. Let me make sure my audio is right. All right, so I got my desktop audio on. So there's that. Y'all let me know if y'all can't hear the video because I did my best to get it working now. So let's see.
All right, so let's get a response now. Let's bring in Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Good to talk to you. Hope that you're about to have a very relaxing Labor Day weekend. Ha, ha, ha. Wanted to ask you about this feud that you've got going on with Nikki Haley. She dinged you at the debate, as did many of your other GOP colleagues. But then you fired back.
All right, let me go check to make sure it's playing. Let's see.
I wanted to ask you about this feud that you.
All right, so it's working. Booyah. All right, one more start over and we're gonna get it.
All right, so let's get a response now. Let's bring in Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy.
Cool.
Good to
Thank you,
talk
Wes.
to you. Hope that you're about to have a very relaxing Labor Day weekend. Ha, ha, ha. Wanted to ask you about this feud that you've got going on with Nikki Haley. She dinged you at the debate, as did many of your other GOP colleagues. But then you fired back at her using her first name and her maiden last name. You even spelled her first name wrong. Now, I expect it wasn't you that actually penned that tweet.
The type of shit
But
they
why
be
do
fighting
that?
over, man.
Well, look, I think it was a playful jest at the fact that she's been mispronouncing my name for the longest time. It's Vivek. It rhymes with cake. I'd expect someone of
Oh, Lord, why my shit acting up? I might have got too much windows open. Let me see.
Nikki's background to be able to get that right. So I believe in a little bit of banter on the basketball court. We're having fun in this race. But I do think that there is a real distinction. And I think that I am the only candidate who was on that stage who was a non-neocon. I believe in standing for American interests, asserting American interests, but only where it advances the U.S. interest. That's very different from other candidates that would.
All right, so like when we talk about like the neocon situation, right? I think that it's something that really came up a few years ago. Like I haven't heard the word neocon until maybe like the last 5-6 years. But like the neocon is basically, you know, the person that's like a traditional conservative, basically like of the older ilk. All right, we got to pick a lane here. Are we against established politicians or are we not? Sometimes I get mixed messaging on this fact. If we're going to praise certain established Republicans, for example, like Ron DeSantis is an established politician. He's somebody who's a Republican who's been in office for what now 2 terms. At what point do you become established? What the part of the establishment? Is it the policies you pushing that makes you establishment, or is it the policies that you're not pushing makes you establishment? Like I need to know exactly what determines whether somebody is a neocon versus not. Do you get brownie points for being a neocon, or do you get brownie points for being anti-establishment? Right now, I think the biggest argument right now is like anti-establishment versus establishment. And I think more and more people find themselves on the anti-establishment side of things. The people who tend to want to go along with the establishment mostly are the people who kind of like the status quo and don't feel like shaking it up too much. You know what I mean? Which depends on the individual, you know.
Sooner send troops to defend an invasion across somebody else's border than to use troops to defend across the invasion on our own southern border in this country.
Now, the clear language is invasion, 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 right? Focusing, honing on the word invasion, right? What does an invasion mean, right? Now, an invasion is more so like when you hear the word, it immediately comes as an attack. It's like, oh, the army is invading. It's coming to attack us, right? I don't necessarily prescribe to the idea that we're being invaded. I do prescribe to the fact that our borders are being flooded. I think that's more of an appropriate word, flooded by illegal migrants who are looking to get into America and I guess build a better life for themselves. It's not necessarily always people who are looking for asylum, especially when you skip over multiple countries to get into America, when you could apply for asylum in the next country furthest to closest to your country. So like, but when you say invasion, that's implying something, right? And what do you do when people invade your country?
I worry that many in the neocon establishment are quietly, even if accidentally, marching us into World War III, serious armed conflict with other nuclear powers, including the combination of the Russia-China alliance. I am the only candidate in this race who has pointed out the Russia-China alliance and the threat that it poses, and a clear plan to pull them apart from each other. So yes, everybody agrees that men shouldn't be swimming in women's swimming competitions. I'm glad we all agree on that. But I think when it comes to foreign policy, that's really what distinguishes me from the Karl Rove, Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, Chris Christie wing. And I think that debate is going to be good for our party.
Well, interesting you didn't mention Donald Trump in there. We'll ask you about that in just a second. But here was Nikki Haley. She was on this program. That's
one of the things that I'm kind of mixed about with Vivek. Just because you're running against somebody in a political race doesn't mean you have to literally run against them. But you're going to have to justify why you are a better candidate than the person that you refuse to criticize. That's the sketchy part of it about Vivek with me is out of all the things Donald Trump is, whether you're a supporter or not, I find many people who support Donald Trump who can find something to criticize about Donald Trump. Vivek barely does, but he did write a book where he had a lot of criticisms of Donald Trump, which they try to call him out on a lot of times. And he's, done well managing it. It's two sides to this. Either I think Vivek makes a great candidate Now, is he consistent on many of his views? Maybe not, but that is also part of what makes you a great candidate. If you know how to navigate those waters, depending on the audience that you're targeting. It's sad, it sucks, but this is the world we live in.
A couple days ago, and she responded to your campaign misspelling her birth name, where you also called her a liar. Listen.
I'm not going to get involved in these childish name games. It's pretty pathetic. First of all, I was born with Nikki on my birth certificate. I was raised as Nikki. I'm married to Haley, and so that is what my name is. So he can say or misspell or do whatever he wants, but he can't step away from the fact that, look, he's the one that said he was.
It feels bad because I know that Americans will never elect Nikki Haley to be president. Believe it or not, your most fundamental bar for success when it comes to running for presidential office comes down to how you make people feel. Do you resonate with people? Your personality, your looks, your voice. That is what sells. I don't think it's right, but hell, it ain't necessarily wrong. We come from ancestors who literally, look for physical indicators to see if you were fit or not. And I don't think that primitive brain has necessarily evolved further than that in most people.
Is going to abandon Israel. Those were his words. Now he's wanting to walk it back. And the reality is you have to understand the importance of our allies and those relationships. We can never be so narcissistic to think that we don't need friends. I think you can tell a lot about the kind of leader someone will be based on how they run their campaign. And he's doing that all on his own.
So is that true to say that you are walking back?
She talking shit. And it's like, you got to sit here and watch. It's like, shut up, and we finna watch somebody talk shit about you, and you're just gonna have to take it until you get a chance to respond. Oh man.
Back some of those claims, and by the way, are you walking back?
Not at all.
Okay. Explain.
Not at all. I've stood firmly for advancing American interests. I've been very clear that our relationship with Israel by the end of my first term will be stronger than it has ever been because I will treat it as a true friendship, not a transaction.
Yo, that is wow. That is wow. We say in Bolivia, women still check out men's calves as a marker for attractiveness. Lots of mountain walking and short pants. That's wow, yo.
Relationship. I don't talk in the way that standard GOP talking points advise you to speak, but I'm speaking with an authenticity on that relationship. Take the Abraham Accords to the next level. Add Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, Indonesia to that pact. I've been crystal clear that it is a vital U.S. interest to make sure that Iran never comes anywhere close to a nuclear weapon. We have to work with Israel to make sure that happens. And yes, I have said that we would back Israel fully, militarily. But I've also said that I don't want our sons and daughters, U.S. troops, to die in that conflict. And if they're going to distort that to say that I'm not going to stand for Israel, then I'm happy to have the debate where Nikki Haley or Mike Pence or Chris Christie can state how many U.S. soldiers they'd like to see die in that conflict. Oh, wait, I've asked that question. I haven't gotten a response. But
Vivek is fighting an uphill battle. As much as people say they don't like that their presidents are old, I don't necessarily know how many people are warm to a 38-year-old president. It's an uphill battle. Not necessarily because he can't do it, but because we're not used to that. It takes a lot of effort to prove that you're somebody who can overcome that barrier, which he might. But at the same time, it's going to hurt him, just like it did in the debate when people were like, oh, you have no foreign policy experience. You don't know anything about foreign policy. Like, I mean, how do you combat that? Yeah. Do I think that you have to be a politician for X amount of years to be able to develop a foreign policy, a comprehensive foreign policy mindset? No, of course not. But you're going to have to fight that battle.
For my part, I have been clear. Yes, we stand with Israel. And you know what? For my part, I want to learn from our friends in Israel. I would love their border policies in this country. I would love their tough on crime policies and their strong national identity and a missile defense system like they have in this country. And so I admire and respect our friends. I'll have Bibi over to the White House in a way that Joe Biden couldn't. But yes, it's true that I'm not talking about this in the way that standard Republican partisans are taught to by the talking points they get from their super PACs. That's what makes me different, but it is also what will make our relationships with our foreign partners and friends that much more authentic.
So let me ask you about two other foreign policy issues. One is Taiwan, and then the other one is Ukraine and Russia and ending that conflict. You've said that you'd fully back Taiwan until the U.S. becomes independent with semiconductors. Yes. So what happens after that point? Do we just give Taiwan to China?
So, John, that's how my position again has been caricatured. Let's get real here. But the U.S. position right now is one of...
See, this is one of those things, right? White dude is like, yo, that's what you said, bro. That's what you said. You know what I mean? Now, this is interesting, right? Now, on one hand, you got to accept it for what it is. If Taiwan is only useful to America because of the semiconductor chips, what happens when America starts producing their own and no longer needs Taiwan? What do you do? One thing about it, two things for sure. We're not finna go to World War III over it. But at the same time, people might feel a little shitty about abandoning an ally. It's a tough rope to walk. But he said it, so let's see how he clears it up.
Well, I want to get real.
Sorry, Vivek, let me just say, you've said that you would back Taiwan.
I did not say we would hand them over to China.
No, I know you didn't say that. That was my question. What you have said is we will fully back Taiwan until we become independent in semiconductor production. And my question is, what happens after that?
After which point we resume the status quo, which is strategic ambiguity, which is what I was beginning to explain to you, John. Right now, the status quo is the U.S. embraces the one China policy. Both Republicans and Democrats, every other Republican in this race, embraces the one China policy.
So he's basically saying what the man said. He said that just because we treat Taiwan as a part of China because we have the one China policy where we basically have yielded the floor to saying China can claim Taiwan as a part of China, well, he's just going to fulfill that. And basically, you're going to abandon Taiwan to China. I mean, that's what you're really saying, Vivek.
Strategic ambiguity, refusing to call Taiwan a nation. Recall that President Trump was derided by both parties for picking up a phone call from the Taiwanese president. That's our current status quo with respect to China. I think that's insufficient. I think we have to be crystal clear that we will defend Taiwan. So I'm upgrading to strategic clarity, saying that absolutely we will defend Taiwan until we get semiconductor independence.
What is that? That's exactly what they say you said, bro. They said you said that we would protect Taiwan until we get our own chips. And then you said, no, that's a caricature of what I said. Then you turn right around and say exactly, you did all of that talking just to get right back to what the man accused you of. And you said it. I don't know how else to see it. Gosh.
Because that's why Taiwan matters most to the U.S. They provide the chips that power our modern way of life. And after that, we resume the current
Don't we also
status
support
quo,
a robust
which is
democracy
strategic
off
ambiguity.
of China's shores?
So look, I think we should support them more than we are now. That robust democracy, John, I'll remind you. Oh, absolutely. But the fact of the matter is the current U.S. establishment in both parties, including the Republican Party, does not even recognize Taiwan as a nation right now. One China is our policy. So, John, that's actually a caricature. It's laughable to say that when I'm saying Taiwan is a nation, that we actually will defend it until and unless we have semiconductor independence. And then
So all he basically is doing is changing the language surrounding Taiwan. But other than that, you're basically saying the same thing, bro. Just because you're going to recognize Taiwan as an independent country don't mean you ain't going to abandon them as soon as you no longer need them. I mean, look, just admit to it. Own up to it. I mean, you cannot say it in a way he's owning up to it, but he's denying it at the same time. It's very confusing.
we resume the status quo. That's honest. That's clear. And that is actually a more strong
His
Taiwan
position is no
posture
better than what
either
he
party has
complains.
offered.
I
And
know,
again,
right?
this takes an outsider to call out the bluff. The fact that Trump couldn't pick up a phone call from the Taiwanese president before being derided, those are the same people that are saying that because I'll say I'll defend Taiwan, but am clear until it has semiconductor
so
independence,
very clearly,
contort it. So I think you have to understand the status quo.
This is clearly another instance where we've seen you embrace the former president. He's obviously also stepping up and showing some support for you. A young, interesting candidate he's referring to you as. If you were to continue to climb in the polls, he could be a competitor for you on the GOP primary stage. How do you differentiate yourself? We know your similarities.
I'm younger.
Where do you differentiate yourself with the former president, Donald Trump?
I'm younger.
I'm 38 years old. I have fresh legs. We are reaching the next.
Well, so I got fresh legs, baby. I got fresh legs. Okay, all right.
generation of young Americans. That is why I can win this election in a landslide in a way that no other candidate can. Look at the way we're running this campaign. I've gone to the inner city of Chicago, Kensington in the middle of Philadelphia, places where traditional Republican candidates dare not touch. We're leaving no state left behind, no city left behind, no American left behind. Already building a multi-ethnic working class coalition.
Now, they asked him what's the difference between him and Trump. And he's listing off a litany of different things. So that means he would have to be accusing Donald Trump of not doing these things, you know? But he's answering it in a way that can't be construed as attacking Donald Trump.
And I think this cannot be a 50.1 election. I think this has to be a landslide moral mandate, like Ronald Reagan delivered in 1980. That's what I'm aiming to do in 2024.
Based on the question, does that mean you're directly aligned with his policies? I didn't hear a difference other than age.
No, we have our.
And she did that shit smooth too. Like, I didn't hear a difference. Like, bro, like, come on, Vivek, come on.
We have some of our areas of differences, but they are small. By and large, we're the two America First candidates in this race. Everybody else embraces the neocon foreign policy view. So I think we're deeply aligned on policy 90+% of the way. There are some small differences. I would rescind affirmative action. I would militarize the southern border instead of just building the wall. I would shut down the U.S. Department of Education, not just put a good person, Betsy DeVos, on top to reform it. Those are details. But the main difference is I will be able to unite this country by leading the next generation of Americans to a vision of what it means to be an American.
All right, so like rhetoric matters. Rhetoric matters. But the issue that we're going to find is you cannot say that you're going to unite Americans while you're definitely proposing things that at least half the country is not for. Militarizing the southern border. While there may be a wide variety of popularity on that issue amongst Republicans, I don't see Democrats necessarily going along with that. So that's one of those issues that I don't see how it's going to unite. You're talking about basically getting rid of the educational, the teachers' unions and stuff like that. The left is highly in favor of unions. So I don't see how that's going to unite. You cannot unite all of America unless you only stick with the issues that we mostly agree on. Oh no, he has visions. Call a doctor. Oh man, bro, make it make sense.
National pride in that next generation where it is lacking. I think we have an opportunity to reunite this country around our shared ideals, and that will allow me to take the America First agenda even further than Donald Trump did by building on what I think is a very good foundation that he laid. And so the fact that I'm not running against him, that doesn't mean anything. I'm running for this country, and that's the way I'm going to lead us to national unity. That's my job, and I expect to do it as the next president.
All right, Vivek Ramaswamy, still lots to talk about, and we will in the days and weeks ahead. Thanks for joining us.
Damn.
Labor Day weekend.
Bro, I really wanted to like this guy. I'm not even gonna lie. I really wanted to like this guy. And I'm not afraid to admit that. When I first saw him, I was like, yo, I really want to like this guy. It's just, I have two ears. And sometimes when you hear stuff, this might work on people who don't necessarily care about details. They only care about how you make them feel or one single issue that you are trying to fight for that they really care about. they get a vote, they can decide for themselves. But if you actually take the time to break down and hear exactly some of the things he's proposing, they either contradict things he said before, or they're not going to actually bring unity to this country, which is fair, but he has to say those things. But he does a great job selling it to the average person who may not be able to take the time to dissect and dive deep into these issues. That's as much as I can say about Vivek Ramaswamy at this point. I would hope that he gets his messaging clear and find the policies that is really resonating with people, stick with them and hammer those home. Keep up his smooth talking and eloquence, keep going on different shows and TV podcasts and all of that different stuff. And he got a bright future. Not that he needs it. He's already a billionaire. So, like, kudos to him for that. You know, kudos to him for that. Yeah. So, on to that. 2024 is gonna be crazy, yo. It's gonna be mad crazy. I really think that shit is gonna hit the fan. I'm really curious to see exactly what happens with Donald Trump, because like I say, it could go either way at this point. It could really go either way at this point. You know, shoot. Let me see what else we got going on up here. I'm chilling. Y'all could also drop video recommendations in Discord as well. If y'all ain't a member of Discord, if y'all don't have a Discord account, I highly recommend you go actually join Discord. I think that it'd be good for you. I got a lot of people over there in the community already over there. Let's see. So your boy is Fresh and Fit, you know. Your boy Fresh and Fit got demonetized on YouTube. The Red Pill community is not doing well these days. Not doing well at all. I don't know how they gonna save themselves. Ooh. Let me see. Open up another window. Let me see something. It's been a long time. Oh, they ain't going after your boy Jordan Peterson. Your boy Jordan Peterson. Let me see something. Your boy Jordan Peterson. They went after Jordan Peterson license, right? And they said that man need to do some media training. If I can find it. Social media training. I'm fucking with Fox tonight. Let's see what Fox got going on. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Man, Marvel sucks these days, y'all. Sucks. Alright. Let's see. Does whatever a spider can. Where have you gone? Who's Spider-Man?
Dr. Jordan Peterson, a psychologist and a best-selling author who joins us now. All right, so doctor, how will you be processing and showcasing this reprogramming for us? Because we'd like to know what's going on.
Yo, Jordan Peterson looks so upset right now. He does not look happy at all. I mean, wow.
Well, I'm going to do everything I can to make all of this as public as I possibly can. I've done that from the beginning. I released all the documents that included the charges, so to speak, that the college has levied against me. I want to make this 100% transparent and let the public decide for themselves who exactly is acting, let's say, in an unprofessional capacity.
So you'll be trying to film the re-education program?
Well, I can't say exactly what is going to happen as it moves forward, because they're
sending this man to a re-education camp. I don't know if that's what it's called, or if that's just not what Fox is calling it. It might be. Fox News, Peterson sent to a re-education camp. Let me see something. Does Canada have a re-education camp? Canada re-ed. Yeah. Oh boy. My brain. Education camp. Counseling, mental health, Jordan Peterson ordered the Canadian court to undergo there will be a judicial review of college decision, inquiry, complaints report. Has special counsel citizens who all right, so I don't know if it's called a re-education camp or not. You know, I really have no fucking idea. But it is what it is. Back to reality.
Legal ground that I'm standing on is very difficult to define, but my plan is to make everything that's done to me public, and if I can do that by filming, well, then I'll do that, or audio recording, or extensive notes, or commentary afterwards, somehow.
Jordan Peterson has got to make a publicity stunt on this, boy. That man's finna film this or record this so other people can see. And you might even get exclusive access to it behind the Daily Wire paywall. Go and sign up today if you want to see what goes on at the re-education camp.
Everything that happens is going to.
Now, I know there's going to be some people that's upset that I'm laughing about this, but let's be real quick. How much about Jordan Peterson going to a re-education camp has an impact or influence on your life? Right? Everybody knows that there's a large percentage of people out there who love Jordan Peterson. There's a large percentage of people out there who hate Jordan Peterson. But let's get real. Sometimes when bad things happen to people of this stature and people who are rich and all of those things, it's probably most likely happening to them because they are those things. I don't know any average citizens being sent to re-education camps or anything like that in Canada, for example. I mean, I just hope that this victimhood mentality is not being spread amongst people on the right, because I don't care which political aisle you sit on. This idea of woe is me, I'm a victim, look at what they're doing to us, is outdated, it's played out, and it doesn't get you anywhere. Solutions, come up with solutions. Come on.
Be made public. It's absolutely necessary. And I'm also, by the way, perfectly willing to state that I am stating my opinions on Twitter and social media in my professional capacity. So, for example, the comments I made about Ellen Page, I mean, I'm not least bit happy about what the sadistic surgeon butchers are doing to minors, and I'm also not very happy about narcissistic.
Did you hear that? Break it down for him again.
Surgeon butchers are doing about Ellen Page. I mean, I'm not least bit happy about what the sadistic surgeon butchers are doing to minors, and I'm also not very happy about narcissistic, let's say, celebrities.
Bro, why is this man sitting there looking so scary like that?
Parading off their new surgically enhanced body.
That man looked frozen in time.
And enticing young women, for example, into being sterilized and butchered. And so I think I have a professional obligation, like all therapists and all physicians, to say very clearly that this is 100% absolutely not acceptable.
So what do you think?
Now, let me ask you a question. Is it a therapist's job to comment on public things, or is it a therapist's job to help their clients? Like, okay, one could argue that Jordan Peterson has become a public figure, and therefore, unofficially, his audience has become his clients in some kind of unwritten rule type of way. But ultimately, like, does a person really like have an obligation to use their therapy status to try to make broad statements about society as a whole, unfiltered? Or is it that's something that's meant to be in a therapeutic environment? Peterson is completely right on the issue. I personally think that what is happening to Jordan Peterson is ludicrous. I think it's crazy. Is it crazy enough for me to care? I don't see myself caring that much. I really don't. I mean, ultimately, I feel as if like this just comes with the territory. When you put yourself in the line of fire, people who don't like you are going to use whatever tactics they can to come after you. Do I like it? No. Should it be that way? No. But you should be prepared for this. Jordan Peterson should be prepared for this. He's been going through controversy after controversy of people coming after him. And most of the controversy I don't think is necessarily his fault or is due, you know, or is right. But at the same time, like, this just is a part of the territory. If you are a fighter, if you are a man, fight your fight. And I'm 100% with him fighting this fight. I just don't see any reason why I should be invested in it. You know, I mean, I really think there's a lot of victimhood shit going on right now. And a lot of people don't see the victimhood shit because it's on their side. And I have low tolerance for the victimhood shit now.
The motivation is by these people in Canada that are doing this? Is it because they're embarrassed that you're a psychologist and you're so popular and you're saying unpopular things? Or is it because there's going to be some more darker, more sinister approach next?
What kind of question is that? That's a weird question. That's a weird ass question.
Oh, I think that what we're seeing in Canada is an unraveling of all the principles upon which my country and yours are predicated, and that's part of the ideological possession that's swept over Canada in particular. I mean, it's certainly threatening you characters down in the United States, but we're farther along that road given that we're run by the poster boy for political correctness himself. And it's so amazing because, you know, Justin Trudeau, that's our Prime Minister, his father, Pierre, his contribution to Canadian posterity was the introduction of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which hypothetically guarantees Canadians the right to free speech, but has pretty much no teeth. And it was a bad document to begin with, and whatever little utility it had, his son Justin, who's now our Prime Minister, has destroyed entirely.
So this is an attack on Western civilization, an attack on gender, an attack on biology, an attack...
Well, all right, so look, I really like Jordan Peterson to a certain extent. There are things I don't like about him, but that's neither here nor there. This is not an attack on Western civilization. And I know that I'm not sure Jordan Peterson is going to agree with that or whatever, but Jesse Waters is basically I mean, what do you mean by attack? The way we weaponize words means something. It means something. I am 100% for fighting like hell to protect children from malpractice, from bad behavior, from bad ideology, and all of those things. But you can't not see everything through a prism of, does this advance my cause, or is it anti my cause? Sometimes you just got shitty people doing shitty things, and they're not trying to attack any institution as a whole or Western civilization as a whole. Some of these people aren't even that politically inept. Most of these people don't even know what they think. They probably just go along with whatever the people in their community is going along with. Most people are trying to be nice and good people, and whatever the people around them telling them is nice and good people, they're just following that. They have no massive agenda overall. It's the people in political power. It's the people who sit in rooms with people and are privy to trends and know how they're going to implement certain things and how it's going to have a major impact. Those are the people who are nefarious in the ways that they behave, especially when they know that certain things are going to divide Americans. But that's a part of the plan. It all comes with the territory.
On the scientific method, why
Should I be
would the
all over the
left
place?
pursue an attack on Western civilization, which has provided so much, amazing results over the last, hundreds of thousands of years?
Now look,
What? Hold on. Let me rewind that. I want to make sure that I heard that correctly.
Western civilization, which has provided so much, amazing results over the last, hundreds of thousands of years.
Hundreds of thousands of years? Western civilization hasn't been around that long. I mean, hundreds of thousands of years? Jesus died a little over 2,000 years ago. Hundreds of thousands of years? Maybe, all right, look, I'm just being picky. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding. It's possible.
Amazing results over the last, hundreds of thousands of years.
now look, people have been motivated by spite and resentment forever. I mean, it's a story as old as mankind. It's a story as old as the story of Cain and Abel, is that to tear down what's successful and useful in spite because your own sacrifices, let's say, have apparently gone unrewarded. And that's just the same old endless archetypal story playing out in political guise. And there are no shortage of people as well, especially on the more psychopathic side of the continuum, who will adopt the camouflage of compassion. Let's say we see that expressed in relationship to do care for group rights. They'll adopt the camouflage of compassion to tear everything down and dance around in the ruins. And there's actually a fairly
I can agree with all of that.
extensive psychological literature now detailing the relationship between narcissism, psychopathy, manipulativeness, and left-wing authoritarian political viewpoints. And
Is
so
this because something
is just
happened to
an
them as
extension of that.
children? They feel insufficient. They feel disregarded. They feel disrespected. What causes this lashing out? This violent terror?
I feel like Jesse Water is an alien trying to understand humans. is this something that happens to him as a child? Is it like, come on, man? I know this is the interview, but like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know, man. Look.
Everybody, well, look, well, everybody is in a position in their lives to feel alienated from existence itself from time to time. I mean, life is pretty difficult, and things don't often always turn out the way we want them to.
I talked about that combination of traits 5 years ago as being the problem.
Meaning of our own lives and the purpose, and we're all subject to a certain.
There's a lot of narcissism in our societies. A lot of narcissism in the Western culture. Even me on camera is a form of narcissism in a way, because you have to believe that what you have to say or way you see things is so right or is somehow so good that other people must hear what you have to say. Other people must get what you're saying. You figure something out and other people have to hear it. There are people who walk throughout life every day who don't feel the need to express their opinions or their thoughts or their conclusions. People that might be smarter than me, smarter than Jordan Peterson, who may just never have an inclination to have their voices heard. They don't care enough to have people say, look at me. I don't necessarily know if that is descriptively narcissism, but it's borderline there. There's something to people nowadays with Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all of these things where a lot of people feel that their opinion or their thoughts or the conclusions they come to is not enough for them to just have. They must share it with the world. They must give it away to other people because they're blessing everybody with their knowledge and their wisdom and their talent and their gifts. And that resides here as well. I am not exempt to it.
Certain amount of torture, and one of the temptations there is to get bitter and resentful and to lash out, to look for enemies, to
I don't know why my shit keep going out like that.
Partly merely to shake your fist at destiny itself and to express your dismay. It's a constant temptation for everyone in some ways to be tempted down, to be enticed down that pathway, but it's a very dreadful mistake. And you know, the freedoms that we put in place in the West, especially the freedom of speech, is predicated on the viewpoint that human existence is worthwhile, and so is being itself, and that we should orient ourselves properly upward. And well, you know, some people think that's a good idea and some people take the opposite tack.
All right, well, we look forward to you showcasing what happens out
I
there.
bet you do.
Maybe next
That's good TV, baby. It's good TV.
time you could wear Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat suit, maybe a bow tie. I somehow feel like you dressed down for me, and I don't know what I did to deserve that, but we'll see what happens next.
Wow, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for the invitation and for the attention that you're drawing to this. I think the American.
I feel like Jordan Peterson wanted to appear somber in this, like, I am being attacked and I am being drained having to fight this fight. It's wearing on me, it's tearing on me, and it's stressing me out. And it could be, you know. I'm just not used to seeing him like this, mostly.
You guys can watch the collapse of a democratic country and its institutions to the north of you if you want to see how it happens, because it's happening in Canada one step at a time.
We'll be watching closely. Thank you, as always, Dr.
Come on, Canada.
And everybody go check out the book, 12 Rules for Life. I'm following 11 of them and turned out okay.
The 12 rules of life, baby. The 12 rules of motherfucking life. I really like this OBS setup. Yeah, but I don't think Jordan Peterson is a victim. I think Jordan Peterson is a fighter, and we'll see how the fight goes. And we'll see. It's just there's never enough news cycle. Like, you're constantly, the news cycle is constant, you know. I'm gonna take a little break. I'll be back in a few minutes, and see y'all soon. All right, I'm back. Back at it again. Trying to figure all this out. But yeah. Your boy's a streamer. He's a streamer. You. Listen, you still watch, you can join me back on the stream if you want. I'll put you back in the room. Let's see. It's been it's been a lot of controversy lately about people doing reactions and apparently about the copyright and stuff like that. Man, copyright is brutal. It is brutal. No lie. It is brutal. And narcissists, you know, I mean, I got people still hitting me with copyright strikes. I thought I was good, you know, I didn't get a copyright strike on my music video reaction. All of a sudden, boom, boom, now they showing up and it's like, oh, so-and-so is like, they hit you with another copyright strike. You know what I mean? So I need to figure out how to add guests on here like video. You know, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get Wes back in the room. You know, let me see what's going on over here.
Leftists have this, red pillars have this, conservatives have this. Problem is, unfair thing or whatever. But now that I'm out of those spaces, I was, why do women lie about?
All right, boys. And watch some Destiny. Yeah, he talking about.
If it's not normal, why do women lie about body count? They might, I don't know, but guys probably do too. Girls do care, but you're not gonna know that if you're a f***ing virgin. How'd you deal with the resentment that men might feel because they always have to initiate social risk? 99% of approaches, like if you keep falling over and over while the other side doesn't even try. I don't know, dude. I don't know. If I was in a red pill space, I would say that women should try harder to equalize the dating standards so that the onus isn't always on men to do things because that's not a fair thing or whatever. But now that I'm out of those spaces, I would say grow a pair of balls, and if you don't have the guts to walk up to one and ask her, you probably don't deserve to get laid anyway. Ask me when I'm on like some red pill show and I give you like a nicer answer. Listen, it's just...
Yeah, I was shocked to hear how many guys not getting laid these days. Like, I don't know exactly what to make of that. Like, I understood there was a shift or a rift between men and women, basically, as far as like what women want and what women desire in society versus like what men require and how those things can come into conflict because now that women have the ability to like think for themselves and do exactly what they want to do, that somehow it was going to leave a lot of men behind, right? And understood, but how can we live in a day and age of hookup culture and yet so many men are just not getting laid? Is it the effort part? Is it the distraction? Is it the Me Too movement? Are people afraid of what might happen if they actually push too hard or try to get a woman's attention? I don't necessarily know. It's a weird facet. It kind of really reveals you and lets you know how it's so much going on in the world, in the country, that you know, we just can't even begin to like understand that your reality may not be the reality for so many other people out there. But, you know, this incel community, the red pill community, and all of these, the black pill community, all of these people showing up and popping up. I'm really curious to see how much of this is actually an internet thing, you know, or how much of this is actually a self-fulfilling prophecy.
There's more bitches for people like me if you're too scared to even ask a girl out. What's wrong with them today? I've just been so irritated, like coddling weak men for so long. Like, I think that the people that fill these spaces that are like the super judgmental of the women and the body counts and all this shit, it's just like the weakest form of like weak man feeling. And then it's even more irritating because you've all like, or these people have all fooled themselves. And I guess their audience is into thinking that like they're the strong men. Some guy that obsesses over like how many men women have are obsessed with like shitting on women all day. And I feel like to anybody with any...
So, Wiz? You can hear me, brother?
I can hear you, just not the video that is playing. I have to watch it on the stream, which has lag. So because we're in the future, the stream is later.
Yeah. Yeah, it does delay like I don't even know, probably like 10 seconds or something, even longer than
Yeah,
that.
I don't know how to fix that issue. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's
You'll
just the
figure
way
it
it
out.
is. When it's streaming, like everything right now, like me and you talking is like in the moment, but everybody on the stream gets it later than what I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, I mean, on Discord, can you screen share, because that might share your desktop sound as
Let me see.
well.
It might. Let me see. Uh,
I just hope it doesn't break it for the stream.
yeah. I mean, we can try things out and see how it works.
Hmm.
I ain't never did this before. I've been trying to figure out how to add guests on to the room. And let me see, share your screen. Let me see.
And good to do it now. It's the dry swimming session.
Yeah. Uh, let's see. Smoother video, 1080. Oh, I gotta go. Okay, so it's gonna be 720. It's asking me to go live.
I mean, no. Just share your screen, the middle button in Discord.
Okay.
If you click on the Javi Lobby Live channel,
Yeah, that's what
the
I'm
voice
on.
channel,
Yeah, and I
the
clicked
middle button is share your screen.
Okay, I clicked it and it's asking me, okay, application screens. Okay, I can just share my screen.
And
And
yeah,
when I click on it, it asks me if I want to go live.
that's just live in Discord.
I'm guessing.
Yeah. This is within the Discord, within this window here.
Okay, let me try it. Can you see it?
Okay. I mean, I only need the sound anyway.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can just do the sound. What problem? Stop streaming, show now video, potential show my screen share. How do I do just the sound of it?
Oh no. It just if you share the thing where the YouTube thing or your stream, I should get the desktop audio.
Okay, let me see. Can you?
And just hit play on the YouTube video. See if I can
Amount
do
of
something in
insecurity, like it's
Discord.
so obvious how.
Can you hear it?
Nope.
Interesting.
Did you do screenshot or application share?
Screen share.
Okay.
You want me to try application and see what happens?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Stop streaming.
It's always the other one than the one you try. It's like USB.
Yeah, but I can figure it out now. And then, all right. So these are the bad. Let's see. Go live. All right. You can see it, right?
Yeah. Can you hit play?
All right. I'm about to hit play. Let's see.
Like rapidly insecure these people are.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, I can. And let me check if it's also on the.
All right. I'm gonna press play again. See what happens.
No, there's so many other things in life
also
and
on YouTube.
compatibility and relationships.
All good.
Okay, this works.
I don't know how much strain I'm putting on my connection right now.
You have six screens.
Yeah. Oh man.
Okay, it's the connection thing.
Yeah, he talking about the red pill now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna rewind it like 10 seconds. Let's get it.
And are obsessed with like shitting on women all day, and I feel like to anybody with any amount of insecurity, like it's so obvious how like rapidly insecure these people are. No, there's so many other things in life and compatibility and relationships. There's no thing on this guy. Then obsessing over fucking body counts. That's like a child's question. That's like asking like, what's your favorite Play-Doh or Lego set? It's fucking retarded.
I can't imagine coming from him.
You say what?
There's so much bile coming from him.
Yeah, I think
he's genuinely pissed, but when he talks about weak men, like Destiny is the one who is being cucked. Can we say this word on YouTube?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it don't matter.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so he is a weak man in this very regard, and that's probably why he is so hateful towards the other weak men, because he's basically just pissed with himself.
Yeah, I think Destiny is a weird case because, like, I mean, on one hand, he tries to make it logical on what he does, and I don't never hear him saying that everybody should live the way he lives, but I know I would find it very hard to know that my wife is out there just messing around with this guy or that guy. But at the same time, I mean, it's one of those things where like just because I couldn't do it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not right for him. But at the same time, like it's you got to understand that when you're in a world where most men don't behave that way and most men don't want their women doing that, and you allow your woman to do that, most men are not going to take you seriously. Most men are not going to listen to you, and you just got to accept that. And the refusal to acknowledge the fact that you're the outlier here. I don't know how, but I mean, he built for this. I mean, as far as like the controversy, I mean, shit.
Imagine ever like trying to figure out compatibility with a woman based on fucking body count, unless you were like maybe like an ultra conservative or like a religious conservative, a real conservative, not somebody who fucking LARPs as one on YouTube channels. Would you date somebody with a 0 body count? Probably not, but it's not going to be because they have a 0 body count. It's probably going to be because we're not aligning on a whole bunch of other values.
Man, look, all right, so I've heard this take.
Wow.
Yeah, I've heard this take from him before. Like it's more so of like body count doesn't matter. But it does. And the reason I think body count matters is because it tells me a lot about you as a person.
If I'd rather say if Destiny dates in his age group, then he's probably not going to find someone with a 0 body count at this point. Because when you get to that age, that is very unlikely.
Yeah. And I think that, I mean, it's fine to say, okay, you, of course you had boyfriends or maybe you was married before you met me or something of that sort. Yeah, you're going to have sex. But if a woman comes to me and says, oh, I've been with 30, 40, 50 men, that's going to matter. That means you slept with more men than your age, and what kind of person is comfortable enough to lay down and just have multiple people entering her body like that? Yeah. Every woman I've ever met who had a really high body count, there was more going on with her mentally than she. Yeah. You can't just say it doesn't matter because it indicates something.
Much the same if there was a girl with a body count of like 1,000, probably also wouldn't date her. But it's not because we don't. It's not because she has 1,000 body count. It's probably just because the way that she lives her life is probably way, way, way different than the way that I live my life. Probably.
Because
Zero
she
body count,
is
that's-
never taking a break from getting plowed.
I
mean, when do you even talk with her?
Oh,
Does she have time to even eat?
I know, right? She probably getting plowed while they're talking. Ooh, shit. 1,000. I mean, at least he admit that he wouldn't date somebody like that, but god damn. Oh, man. It's unbelievable the amount of bodies that women can get these days.
I mean, that's a large village.
I know, right? Hell no, that is a large ass village, boy. I don't think I know 1,000 people personally by name.
And we have various flowery terms for these kinds of girls when they're a bit not mentally well and end up, for example, the village bicycle, as some call it.
Yeah.
We have other fun terms like that. But no, in a village with like 100 to 400 people or so, when a girl has 5 partners, she's basically already the village bicycle.
I know, right?
Because everybody gets a ride.
And it's like, what would you like? How are you spending your time to where you slept with that many people? It's like, you literally could not have accomplished anything else in life. Yeah.
It's quite rare. It's not really that rare. You just don't know where any of these girls are because you obsess over Instagram sluts. And all the red pill content creators you watch also obsess over Instagram sluts. You think that virgins don't exist. There's plenty of them.
That is one of the issues I had about the red pill.
They do exist until they have sex.
Yeah, till they have sex. One thing about the red pill community that I really noticed that they do heavily focus on a lot of online things. Like most women probably are not like running around trying to sleep with a bunch of men. a lot of these women that they interview and have on their shows are probably like trying to get clout or trying to get some kind of notification or people to see them, and they live that lifestyle. They are hanging around the guys who want to have sex with them, and the guys who like, hey, if you have sex with me, I'll put you in this position, I'll get you this recognition, all of that, which is, it's sad because like, it's no way you can have so many sex partners and be wife material or husband material. I don't think men can sleep around with a bunch of women and at the end of the day just settle down and be like, all right, I'm cool with this one person. At some point you get desensitized to sex.
I mean, you also get old at some point, and then imagine you're 60 with your partner. The stuff down there doesn't really work anymore. Well, your drive goes down.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize you're still stuck with this person for another 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
You have to talk about something.
Yeah.
And you never did that. You never had to do that before because your entire relationship was based on sex. Your marriage was based on sex alone. You may have had children or not, but now you're old. The sex doesn't work anymore, and now you need to talk with who even is that next to me. Like, do we even share anything?
They might tell stories about how much sex they had. That's it.
In high school, there's a ton of them in college. They're out there, but you're never going to find any of them because you don't hang out in any space where they would be caught fucking dead. It's not in fucking red pill spaces. There are studies that people with more partners get divorced more often though, right? Yeah, there are some. You know who gets divorced the most? I think it's people that start with 0 and 1 or something, and then it's like the least is like 2 or whatever. But like those percentages aren't even that far off. You can just Google like IFS. People always quote the same fucking website, that International Family Studies or something, whatever. People don't want girls with high body count because it shows a lot about their
Wow.
lifestyle. You literally just said since same, no matter how hard you call about it. You can call it whatever you want, my dude. Whatever you want. Like the reality is that if like chances are, if you're the type of guy that's watching red pill content and you're obsessed with a woman's body count, you're probably an incredibly low value person yourself. People that have done things in
All right, that's wild.
I have some of these channels I've seen. The guys on there are pretty much very well trained jocks, earning pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
That's not no value. That's not low value.
Yeah.
It's rather just guys who made a bad choice in their partner.
Yeah, and I know guys personally who got girlfriends or guys who've been with multiple women, and they watch a lot of the red pill content. But I do get a sense that a lot of them are like angry at women about something, or they feel like women don't know their place. At least that's the vibe I get from them. Cause like when it's just you and the guys talking, or you talking to a guy, ain't no women around, whatever, guys will say things like, man, women think this or women that, and they'll kind of dog women a little bit. I don't know if that's coming from a place of spite or
I think it's spite because frustration from the current or last girlfriend, which can be justified, but is not processed right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's probably not a good relationship either way, and the two shouldn't be together. But what I've learned, and this goes for both sexes, men and women, they tend to always go back to partners that are similarly flawed.
Mm.
And that's why they eventually give up.
Yeah.
And then you get the weird things like MGTOW. Because after the 5th narcissistic woman or the 5th guy who beats you up,
Mm-hmm.
you probably don't want to have anything to do with the other sex anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so many people are just bad in relationships. They
miss the red flags, or they even take the red flags as signs for attraction.
Oh,
and that's how they fall into the trap.
Yeah. So once that attraction is going, because honestly, the way you know when you love somebody is after you have sex and you still want to be close to that person. Because out of all the women I've ever had sex with, I never really cared to be around them. Like, I'd be like, all right, I'm done with you. Or like, I'd rather go somewhere else and do something else. But like, my wife was the only person that was like, yeah, let's cuddle. Yeah, like I'm still with you 100%.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I can't say that's for every guy, but it's just something that I noticed. Like women that I wasn't really into, but it was only sexual attraction. After the sex, it was like I got what I wanted. So I don't know.
Like people that have achieved
You gonna say something?
No, it's you found the wonderful with clicks, and that's the wonderful. That's the wonderful part.
Yeah.
things in life are like dramatically clinging on to other like false idols in spaces looking for guidance. Like by definition, you are a lost bastard child of the world. That's why you're watching that content. Like that is the target audience of red pill shit. Did I say anything to everybody who disagrees on this red pill? No, what I know to be true, my feelings on this haven't changed for probably 15, 16, 17 years. I doubt they ever will. What I know to be true is that people that are generally hardcore judgmental of other people's lifestyles or hardcore judgmental of like what other people do in their personal lives, more often than not have a ton of personal problems of their own. And for those types of people, the way that their weakness shows is the only way reality makes sense is if their lifestyle and what they're geared towards is absolutely the correct answer. And if other people are doing things that like are incongruent with that, then they have to be miserable. They have to be coping. They have to be wrong. They have to be, like that has to, it has to like rigidly fit into that thing. And it's irritating watching weak people like that roaming the earth and then giving their opinions and judgments and everything. It's just annoying. And then watching like the followers that they pick up doing it because it's
Yo, so it's wild because like, so basically he's saying that judgmental people are usually the people that got the most flaws and they're just projecting. Like, there's no way that this person could be doing all of these things and not be miserable because they feel like they have to somehow justify it in their minds why because they couldn't do what that person is doing, they have to justify that person must be hiding the fact that they're miserable or something of that sort.
Isn't Destiny doing that same thing?
In a way, yeah. Like, he's projecting a lot of insecurities and things on people he don't really know. I guess he probably can try to speak from his experience with the people he engaged with, but that's a small fraction of the people that actually engage with the material. I really don't know. I'd be very careful to make broad, sweeping statements about whole groups of people because everybody's motivation is going to be different. Like I said, I know guys who got relationships and all of that stuff that watches that material and stuff like that. So, I mean, shit, I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know. How far are you into the red pill thing? Do you watch that stuff, or are you familiar with the content that they make?
Years ago, I watched some more of it just to get a better grasp on it and the points they make, and until I start seeing patterns repeat.
Yeah.
And then I move on to something else that interests me. And the pattern I saw there is that they do have a point, but they don't understand that their main problem is bad pattern recognition.
Yeah.
So yes, there are bad women. Yes, there are bad men. It's your job to figure out to train your personal radar in order to spot red flags for what they are and avoid those people.
It's that simple. I mean,
well, it sounds simple, but it is something that it helps getting pointers. That's the theory. But the practice is something that you just can get from so the actual skill you can only get from experience.
Yeah.
You will run into bad people. You will fall for a narcissist here or there, but you will learn from it. You better learn from it. Otherwise, you end like the really miserable types.
Yeah. And I got family members I know personally who never learn. Some of it's self-imposed. Once you've been through something enough, you should already kind of get a grip on exactly what not to do or the type of person you don't want. And I think a lot of guys have problems approaching women, and it may not be out of insecurity. It may just mean it may just be the type of responses that women give these days. You know, like a guy can say the same thing to a woman as another guy, but if she's attracted to one guy and not the other guy, he'll get totally different responses.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard to gauge because you don't know how a person gonna respond to you until you actually try to engage with them. And a lot of guys have that fear. Me personally, I always felt like, fuck it. Like, you can say no. You can tell me I'm ugly or whatever the case may be. It never bothered me. Like, on to the next. There's plenty fish in the sea. It's so many women out here, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but I also had a friend who kept falling for girls with borderline personality disorder because it was something about that disorder that attracted him. So not consciously that he wanted a mentally insane girlfriend,
Yeah.
but something something about the vibe, how they hold themselves or something. Until he figured out, because it broke him completely, and until he figured out what it was, and then he could turn it around into when I get the hots for that reason, then I know I have to turn that into a warning signal and do the opposite and push it away and say, no, not that girl, not that girl.
Yeah.
And then the room opens up and you see all the others.
Did you save yourself?
Once you can see all the others, you can actually start developing.
Yeah. Well, I would recommend that. I guess it varies depending on where you at. Some women these days are considered harassment just by trying to holler at them once.
That's another problem. That's another problem. Yes, and then that's created by the feminists. There are a lot of women complaining that the whole dating game, the chase game, also doesn't work anymore because of that. Because there are no men who just turn away at the first no, and they're frustrated about that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I know I hollered at my wife twice before she said yes. The first time it was like, oh nah. And the second time, I was like, nah, I mean, shit, I'm going in again. So, yeah, but usually people meet at schools or at the job or something like that. And now those areas have become so taboo of like, you know, engaging with people you go to school with or you work with. It makes it hard for you to meet a partner these days. So, I mean, I can see why men are frustrated. I can see why a lot of guys don't know exactly what the hell to do. You know?
Yeah.
It's a long
Yeah, and these red pill places, they at least offer some advice. Whether it's the best or not is not the question. It is that it is something in a world where you don't get anything anymore.
Yeah.
So that's where people then drift. It's understandable.
Yeah, and they don't want you to be like the traditional man. They don't want gentlemen. They don't want guys who hold doors open and shit like that no more. So, I mean, what the hell is a man supposed to do?
Well, find the women who do like that.
Yeah.
They still are out there.
Yeah, you got to join a club or
And
some kind of group where you know that like-minded people will be around, you know.
yeah. Yeah, and at least for the next generation, it might be a bit better, as that seems to be swinging the other way.
Yeah.
Where they say, oh, is that what this generation did? That is all laughable nonsense. Like, what the hell? I don't want to be like that.
I know, right?
These people are laughable. Look at these feminists. They're laughable, horrible, miserable people. Let's not do that. Let's be nice.
Yeah. Good luck. Yeah, I think they might. They really might. I think a lot of feminists are rethinking these things as well. Cause
usually after menopause.
Yeah, after nobody wants them.
Same here in Germany. Same here.
Oh man. Oh Lord. My wife works with a girl who's Korean and she's married to a German woman, German female. And girl speaks German, full German and everything. I was like, dope. That's nice. But I don't know. It made me think of you when I found that out. I don't know why. You're like the only German person I know, personally. So,
ich habe noch nie Deutsch geredet im Stream bei dir.
Yeah. Maybe.
I think to anybody else it's just sad. But listen, hey, you know, politics suck, right? It's coming sad. Would you say someone with higher amounts of relationship experience who also try to fuck around is more likely to know what they want, so if they actually commit to someone, they are more likely to actually say, maybe, who knows? It could go either way. There's probably going to be other things that are more important to predict relationship success or whatever than just looking at the number of sexual partners they've had.
Can we please go back to 2016 debating random Trumples in chat?
Yeah, true.
I'm trying to get my.
What do you think it would take to talk to the people
I'm trying to get my live stream chat live like his be. I gotta put in the work.
Yeah.
To help the people you were talking about? The issue that every single fucking person has, and I don't know what causes it or why some people are built differently. Leftists have this, red pillars have this, conservatives have this. The problem is that people have a really hard time taking responsibility for what exists in their life and then building on and working on what they can improve. That just seems to be an insurmountable assignment for most people. So they have to externalize and blame other parties. So for red pillars, it's slut women and feminism. For progressives, it's white people and colonialists. For conservatives, it's the deep state and Jews, depending on how far right you go. Nobody can just ever be like, hey, some things in life suck. This is what I have. This is what I can work on, and let's go from there. Everybody needs some big bad fucking enemy or some huge bad guy.
That I do agree with him on.
Some of those exist, some don't.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what he describes is just the
people
guideless, the guideless youth that doesn't know how to put something together and has no support on how to do that. That's what good parents would be for, that they help you set that foundation, give you some direction, and then the whole thing flows.
But I mean, they tear down a lot of the men that try to fill that void as well. Like, I mean, a large percentage of the people in America are raised without a father, and like, they try to tear down Jordan Peterson. They try to tear down a lot of these people who are trying to lift up.
Because he talks pro having a father, basically. He gives people that very foundation and gives them the inspiration and the drive to, go, try, fulfill your potential, find your potential.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I mean, you wouldn't, that it's resonating with people because so many people are buying into it. So many people are following him and listening to what he has to say, and you're trying to shut that shit down. It's like, what the fuck? You're like, I mean, now I have to believe that there's some nefarious shit going on behind the scenes, because why would you try to hurt somebody who's resonating with so many young men? You know what I mean? So like,
especially when you claim to be of the group that wants to help everyone. Why are you shutting down the person that is actually helping everyone?
Yeah, I thought about it a few times, getting into that space of like talking to young men and trying to like, help them see, their way through a lot of the shit that they're dealing with these days. I try to learn my strong suit. I mean, I could talk to young men and shit like that on the internet, but at the same time, like, so many different men have different unique experiences and different needs and stuff. Jordan Peterson is a psychologist. He's somebody who deals with the psyche. He can understand, like, why certain behaviors evolve and develop a certain way. He can speak to them from a certain perspective, which, I never...
He can appeal to the actual deeper patterns that drive us all because he understands them.
Exactly.
And for everyone else, the Buddhist principle applies of you can't change groups. You can only change yourself. That's where it starts. And then you can work with individuals and help them on the way.
Yeah. And that's the way it has to be.
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady.
Or some unethical, immoral invader to fight against. It is such an aggravating and irritating way to watch people progress through the world. What is it for you? I don't have a big bad guy. I have shit that I'm trying to do in my life. I've got shit that I'm trying to improve on myself. I've got stuff like, I've always just been a kind of person who's like, what do I need to do to succeed on my own? The idea of like wasting so much time externalizing all of your problems on other enemies or things is such a loser fucking mindset. I can't imagine like how many areas in my life I would have failed in or been such a loser in if I would have walked through life with that mindset. I'm so happy I didn't get fed that bullshit growing up. I'm probably really lucky, I guess, that I had a conservative upbringing or some shit, or I would have spent my whole time through college crying about being poor, or not having my mom and dad to support me, or having to work, or blah blah blah.
I think ultimately, I mean, there is something inherent about the victim mindset. Fluffy says, I think it's because he's a psychologist and a man, so he can share both sides of him at once, and that makes him valuable. Absolutely. I think that there is a victimhood mentality that is resonating, and the more,
Yeah, of course, that's a that is a narcissism problem where not you are at fault, it's everyone else's fault. Destiny is correct about that. He's not necessarily correct about all the examples, but he is generally correct about that. But that does not mean, because this is another problem that narcissists make. Everything's black and white. So when he says, when he talks like that, that implies that it's never someone else's fault. It's always your own fault. But that's just as wrong as the other extreme. Sometimes you have adversaries. Sometimes you have hurdles in your way that you just don't know how to get past. That is not necessarily solely a you problem. That would help if just a friend or parents help you understand that and get through that. Because it's like bureaucratic red tape, everybody hates that. And for some people, especially when you have very little, when you still have a low stress tolerance, when you're very insecure because you just haven't the experience, that red tape the presence of it, the sheer idea of it, can paralyze you to the point where you just don't even try because it's too much, and then you just don't do anything. And that is sad. But that is where family and friends should be helping.
Yeah, and the family dynamic is so important, and it's sad to see so many people who just don't have that support. But I mean, everybody who's trying to promote that shit is just, I mean, who would have thought that we would have got to a point in society where telling people that the family should stick together, that fathers should raise their sons, that mothers should, behave a certain way, like that we got to the point where even saying that shit is being shouted down or considered to be part of the patriarchy or some kind of whiteness or whatever the fuck bullshit they've created.
Just dude, take a weekend, some time that you have off on the weekend, and read the Communist Manifesto. It has the answer to that question that you are positing here.
Yeah.
This whole destruction of the family unit, that's not just rhetoric or slander against the left. That is word for word in there. That is a key aspect of that ideology, the destruction of the family unit, so that everybody is alone, so that everybody is dependent on the state or the ideology that wants to be the state.
Yeah.
That's it. It is that simple, and it is that sinister.
We got, I don't know. We gotta fix this shit somehow.
Oh yeah.
Like, or maybe it would have been, the best would have been just grow up really rich, but yeah, Jesus Christ, I can't imagine like being content with having such a loser fucking mindset, or how much of a loser you must feel in real life. Like if you're a guy and you walk through life blaming women with high body counts and songs by Nicki Minaj and feminism and all that shit for why you don't have a girlfriend, like it must be so disempowering and so hopeless feeling, like legitimately feel fucking horrible to know that that no matter what you do, it's all
blame feminism for that, because it reduces the number of available women by making them hate the idea of being with men in the first place and completely uglifying themselves, and of course playing the slut game.
Yeah, something gotta be the cause of it. You can't just say that it's just magically appear one day. Nah, this shit is come from decades of brainwashing and telling women to behave a certain way and not to accept this and not accept that, and you don't need no man. There is truth to the fact that feminism has altered so much of our daily interactions with each other. It's going to have these negative outcomes, and it's clear. I think the only thing what Destiny is saying that I can resonate with on this part is the fact that I think it's helplessness that becomes the problem. Like you said, when a person gets to the point where they don't want to do anything about it, it just becomes an excuse that they use to stay where they are and not progress or not tackle the issue. yeah, if I can't get laid, I got to figure out how to get laid. You know, I can't just sit around and just complain about it all day. I got to do something. And I think that's the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are people who are not who of course understand that that's what they want, that's what they need. But they don't understand that they don't know how to do it, how to get there, because nobody ever taught them. And some things you can only figure out by doing. Other things, as I said before, it helps when you have someone to help you along the way. And that help you along the way, that is missing in society now. That's why people turn to red pillars, to turn to what is it? What's that other thing?
Black
pickup artists.
Yeah, they got the pickup artists.
Because what they provide is a manual, basically. Like how does this even work? Because the dads aren't telling them, because they don't have dads.
Yeah, I mean, I at this point, what do they want? Like, okay, you don't want us to be empowered. You don't want men to go out and be men. You don't want other men teaching men how to be men. What is it that you want? Because suicide rates are up amongst men. It's higher in men than it is women. There are so many things, that mental health and all of that shit that plagues men, that nobody gives a fuck about. And anybody who tries to speak up on behalf of men gets destroyed, or at least they attempt to destroy them. What the hell do you want? And they can't tell you. Like we were talking about.
The answer will always be not that.
Pretty much, just like with the socialism thing we was talking about earlier. It's just there's no clear indication exactly what they want. It's just
an outcropping of that. You go into any feminist group, and they will eventually start about redistribution of wealth and other shit like that.
Yeah.
You go into an environmentalist group, and they start about redistribution of wealth, and it's always that. These things are all just heads of a hydra.
Yeah. And I always look at it like this. If men are as bad as you say they are, you wouldn't be able to say they are. And
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So, I mean, every time they open their mouth, they defeat what the hell they're saying. Because if men were as fucking patriarchy and oppressive as they say we are, boy, there's no way they would feel free and comfortable to be saying some of the shit they're saying.
This would be Qatar or Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, and
which, by the way, do you know about the book *Handmaid's Tale*?
Yeah. I know they got a show about it, right? The *Handmaid's Tale*.
Yeah. Margaret Atwood was the author, and she wrote that. The feminists took it as a critique of the patriarchy in the West because it played in the West. What it truly was, and Margaret Atwood said that, she spelled it out, and the feminists ignore it. What it was a critique of Islamic society, but clad into a Western dress to show how absurd it is. So it's actually it's an Islamic critique, because Islam has that very patriarchy that the feminists complain about. So maybe they shouldn't just speaking in its defense all the time.
Yeah, I gotta look into it then. I didn't see the show, but I might check it out.
Either watch the movie or read the book.
Okay.
I don't know about the show.
Okay.
Stuff today is usually these wokeist writings in it that just distort things even further.
I don't see how the hell they keep making this garbage and getting away with it. This Barbie movie that came out, it was just like, I didn't even see it, but I'm just shocked at what I heard about it and the fact that it did so much numbers, you know? Oh my God.
Well, it did the number. I think it did the numbers. 1, for nostalgia for the people who fell for the trailer.
Yeah.
2, it did the numbers because men watched it, actually did go see it for Ken. And that's what pushed the numbers so insane. The movie is until the last half hour. That just goes insane.
You think you can hold the stream down for a little bit? I gotta call my wife.
Oh no. I'll just scare off your audience again. Be quick, I'm scared.
I got you. I'll be quick.
You can't leave a German alone on your stream. I will get accused of bad names, bad things.
They might become more cultured, man.
Oh dear.
I'll be right back.
Sure thing. And I wanted to go to sleep. Yeah, I know you can't really trust the watch numbers on YouTube, but I thought it went down when I started having some autistic explanations, and I actually have that condition, and I try to keep it under control. That doesn't always work. I'm sorry. Fluffy Muffin says, orbital corporations fighting for systematic control of solar systems for the purpose of mining. Okay. Oh, like the science fiction show. Yeah. Eventually. We'll get there. Yes, hello, Fluffy Muffins. I am happy to see you. I think I remember you. Yes, I am okay. The day didn't go as planned at all, but good nonetheless. Which is good. Better than expected. Space exploration will be spearheaded by introverts, because you can actually put us into small tin cans and leave us alone for months without going crazy.
Okay, I'm back.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm in hot water. My wife is upset that I have been ignoring her phone calls and she's home.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up.
Yeah, that's can't get the wife angry.
Yeah. Oh man, so
Yeah, there you see where the actual power lies.
I got mine, so like I gotta hold on to it, you know. Oh man, but maybe we'll pick up this conversation at some point. I know we will, but just to wrap things up, I'm thinking about doing membership Mondays where I do live streaming for my members, and then I think every Friday I'm gonna start doing live streams in general. But I'm also gonna be trying to do my video essays and put those out and chop up some of my live streams and put them out. Like I said, I'm gonna be doing when I'm live. I'll be doing this Discord. So if y'all ever want to join in, like you are right now, Wisp, then feel free to. I just have to remember to keep checking to make sure I put people out of the waiting room inside. But those people, matter of fact, those people I know who join in, like you or whatever, I'm just gonna give you permission to join the room, and that'll work, right?
I'll try not to crash the party.
Hey man, you do pretty good. I enjoy the conversations we have, and you know how to hold a conversation, and I like that about you.
Thank you. I'm just always scared to scare off audience with my too long explanations.
Now it's all good because it allows the live stream to go on for a while. I want this to be a place where everybody can come and talk and chat and let the conversation go where it go. And you did that for me. I'm glad I caught you. I don't know what time it is there in Germany. I know it's late, right?
1:20 a.m.
Ooh, you probably gonna be up even longer, huh?
Not planning to, no.
Okay, well,
I need some sleep. I wanted to read all day and I couldn't. I am miffed about that.
I'm gonna try to get some reading in too later. What am I reading right now? I read a lot of that, fantasy and shit like that. When I'm not reading political stuff, I've been trying to dial down the political stuff lately to free my mind. So,
All right.
All right, brother.
Read Stanislav Lem, The Star Diaries. You'll love it.
The Star Diaries.
It is not fantasy, but science fiction, but you'll love it.
Okay.
You're a smart guy. You'll enjoy it.
Do they have an audiobook of it too?
Hopefully, somewhere.
I probably can find it on
But the
Amazon.
11th journey is hard to I only know of one English translation, and if they use that, it will be hard to understand, because the translator invented the alien dialect in the most horrible way in the English version.
Shit. Okay. All right.
That's better. That's better to read. So the 11th one is better to read.
Okay. I'll try to read it. I'll try to find it on Amazon and get it.
Yeah. Unless otherwise, I did try to record the 11th journey once, and then I realized that in English for a friend, and that's why I noticed that this is unreadable. What they did, they put in some weird mix of, for the alien dialect, they put in some weird mix of Cockney French and I have Swedish. I have no idea. It is undecipherable. In German, they only used special made-up words, which you could still figure out. But the English one, I have no idea what the translator thought with that. But I'm taking up time. Your wife's getting angry.
All right, brother. You take care. I'm in this live stream, and we'll be talking.
Yeah, have a good time.
All right, you too, brother. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
All right, y'all. Fluffy, you said 7:20 p.m. for you. Yeah, we on the same time, and you just got up. You sleeping late. You must work overnights or something, or maybe you had some extra time. But like I said, I'll be doing this. If y'all ever want to join in on the Discord, go sign over on Discord and create an account. If you don't, all the link is in the description. And come join your boy in the party. We talking politics, religion, and culture. I'm back to it, back at it again. Much love to Wiz for joining me. We had some great conversations. And, until next time, y'all, peace and glory. Peace and glory. I am out.
Thank you.